He's got German medals and in a cigar box upstairs and a helmet he took from a warden. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to see that stuff? Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, it's up in Mom's room in the drawer.
Yeah, one of the drawers, you'll see the
All right.
cigar box.
This was in Mom's closet. This belt was with it. I don't know what that is, Dad.
So this is a
Oh, that's a
German.
German belt.
So this was worn by a German.
That was a German soldier wore that one? The
Yeah,
belt?
yeah. That's a warden's,
That's a warden's. Huh?
wardens, you know, guys that go for fires and everything.
Oh, all right.
This came off a dead guy. Whoa.
Imagine that.
I'm shining it up for you, Eric.
Wow.
My husband wore that Halloween one year.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Shits.
Wow.
That's the money. We used to get paid.
Oh, that's the money that
Yeah,
German money.
yeah, we used to
Wow.
get paid.
Cool.
And we worked.
Maybe I can put. I'm gonna put that camera.
It's so hot in their house.
Holding
They
it.
keep their house at like 72. Sorry, but
Hey, you'll be stripping down pretty soon. Let me get his dog tags.
Maybe.
I saw your dog tags behind here, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Boy, that's different money, huh?
Oh yeah.
You had those behind your.
You want that sitting on something? Or?
Somebody's bringing leaves.
that's just rubbish.
What's that?
That's just rubbish.
No.
Was there some in there?
You
Yes.
don't want to sit.
I was gonna move it. I didn't know if you wanted to sit something.
No, I didn't know that.
You don't want to sit.
That's
in the
what,
living room?
Sally has all the
No, they're
time.
in the
Right.
dining room.
That's all right. I'll sit here. They want me to leave here, tell them. Yeah, that's all right.
Are these your tags?
Those are dog
A
tags.
deep dog tag, yeah.
Arthur Cooper.
And this is a, your dog tag in it, the walk camp, the German,
What?
Oh,
you had to
man.
wear that?
yeah,
You had to wear that?
yeah,
In the
In
camp.
the prisoner war camp?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was the identification, yeah.
That is something.
Wow, look at that Nazi thing there. What's that?
What? The flag?
No, isn't that a Nazi symbol?
What?
That orange thing.
Is that an
The
armband?
flag, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an armband.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow.
See, I got some medals here. that I picked-
German medals?
Yeah,
This is a bonus, huh, Eric?
Yeah.
I just remembered he had a cigar box,
Yeah.
but I thought there were cigars in it.
Yeah. No cigars, huh, Arthur?
no cigar.
Wow. These are all.
Authentic, original.
How many years now?
Oh my God, that was 1940. When did you get out? Get out of the,
45.
you get out of the pre-LW camp in 45?
Yeah,
Yeah. The Russians got them out.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. The Russians got you guys out of there, right?
yeah, what do you call it, they did the camp where I
Oh,
was.
they overran the camp.
Overran
Yeah.
the camp.
I saw somebody driving them. I said, "Oh, Carol's here, Carol." No,
No.
it's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Not disappointed.
No, no.
Not too much. God, I am so hot. He's got a both.
Yeah. Ain't you sweating?
Yeah.
Take your coat off. My goodness gracious. Yeah.
Still a little chilled.
Are you, oh, from standing out there?
Yeah.
That wind cut right through you. Boy, those are different.
The medals, they're not medals from combat or anything.
Yeah, I can be holding this, and you can kind of get us both when we're talking. I'll primarily get him with this camera.
Probably a lot of them are duplicates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
Well, you got a bunch of them in there, Arthur.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh my goodness.
Those are wrong.
Jeez.
Yeah, my father said he got a call today. This is unrelated, but. Yeah, didn't they recently call you, Dad?
Yeah, they called you for something.
Yeah, they called my Uncle Bob.
Was
too.
it Dutch?
Isn't that funny?
Where was it? Where were you in? What is that? People that gave you a call or wrote you a letter? They just
Oh,
wrote
yeah, in Holland.
Holland.
I guess
called.
it was Holland or Germany.
They want to talk to him. They want to.
Tracy Sweeney. Did you hear about it? Up in New Hampshire? He was at the bus. I always get that bus. Yeah, the veteran cemetery.
Yeah, Bob's here. He was a Korean.
He's been trying to find
Oh, yeah, yeah.
his brother. The Marines. And they weren't recognized as veterans until 1988. They finally, gave them the status.
Romania.
Nice ceremony, bugle, everything. And
What are those coins you got there?
Yeah, but they're so old that they get. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this is Bob.
This isn't a setup. You called and said,
Bob.
I'm coming.
you doing? How are you?
Good.
Good. Pleasure to meet you.
It's Eric.
I'm
And
Eric.
his son.
My son, Jake.
Oh, Eric
Jake.
too? Oh, Jake.
He's Jake Eric. Got
Jake.
it.
Oh.
And just make out the. So dark. I guess after how many years I say?
Right, what's that, 45, 50,
45.
60, 70, 80,
You never showed me that stuff, Arthur. You never showed me that stuff.
Oh shit.
Arthur, it's a pleasure to be here. And, I was talking to Lance and your daughter, and I don't know, we play in a band. And
Oh yeah, she told me you and your wife sings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to, help out, raise money for the VFW, and
Oh, yeah.
all the guys over there. And,
That's good. Yeah.
so I was outside talking, and somehow you came up, and
Oh.
I think she said my father was in World War II, and he's still alive, and I'm like, wait, really? I said, has he ever done an interview? Has anybody, got his?
VFW had a what do you call it, Lance?
A vigil, the POWMIA vigil.
Yeah, that just happened, right?
And he was honored with it. You have a disc. I think he has a disc over there on it. So,
Yeah.
and they presented him a hat.
Yeah.
I'll bring your hat in. Everybody signed it due to
Awesome.
that.
Well, the thing is, when she said that, and I was like, well, has he told his story? Has he been interviewed? Because most of the guys, that are still around have done interviews. And she said, no. And I said, my God. I said, we need to get over there and we need to, just do an interview with you. And then she mentioned the Battle of the Bulge. So,
There's a flag that they at the VFW. Most the guys all signed it.
oh, wow.
That was the vigil that night.
That was the vigil that they had. Yeah.
That's nice.
See what I brought for you?
I get a lot of stuff from them.
See what I brought for you?
It was in the newspaper. I got that, and I got
Get the bag
movies
off
of it.
Market
Yeah.
basket, and I got you the little bag.
So what's your
I
full
bought you
name?
last week.
Arthur E. Cooper Jr.
Junior.
Don't get sick.
Okay. Now, was your dad in the military as well?
No. He always told me that he was ready to enter, and they said no more.
I got something in the middle.
Okay. And how old are you now?
95 in a week.
95 in a week. Well,
Week
happy
from today.
happy birthday, not belated,
Yeah.
but
Almost.
Happy almost
happy
birthday.
almost birthday.
Yeah.
Good for you. Make sure you make a wish. That's when the stars line up. And what was your what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Army.
You were in the Army.
Yeah. 8th Division.
8th Division.
30th Regiment, 8th Division, yeah.
And what rank did you?
I was a
end up?
private.
Private. Okay. And how old were you when you joined?
I was 22. I was 22.
Okay. What made you want to sign up
I
at
didn't
22?
get drafted.
You got drafted.
Yeah.
Now, how was that? Like, because there were a lot of people at that time. There were a lot of people rushing to join, right?
Yeah. You just got a letter and it said, we'll go up to town hall at a certain time, and I remember the examiner, he said, what do you want? How many Navy? I said, I'll take the Navy. I'm sorry, you're in the Army.
Man.
Were you married then?
No. I didn't get married till 7 years later.
Okay. And had you known your wife at that time?
Yeah.
You already knew her?
Just must have been after the war. It was after the war I met.
Yeah.
And how long were you in for? Oh, what year was that you joined?
I went in. I got drafted June 3rd, 1944, and I got out November 19, 1945.
Okay. So you did your thing, and then you went overseas, right? You went overseas in
I took
a ship or a
Went
plane?
basic training in Georgia, and then from there I went to a couple of camps overseas. And I landed in Le Havre, France.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so what happens when you land, and then, tell me what happens next.
Well, we got to Le Havre, and we went up to a certain camp, and they gave us all the rifles, and we tried them, and if they worked all right, we kept them. And then they got a group of us, and we went through the Hurligan Forest, and we stayed there, and we dug fog holes, and we stayed there. They said, don't worry, it's a quiet time, they're not going to do anything, everything's quiet. That's just before the bulge started, It was the 16th, and the bulge started the 19th. So we were there and just resting or something, and all of a sudden the roof caved in.
So what was the Battle of the Bulge? You said it because the history here says December 16th, 1944. But it was actually the 19th.
The 19th, yeah.
Yep.
So you were there on the 16th.
Yeah.
And what was the Battle of the Bulge? I mean, what was the Bulge? Because we don't know anything about
the
it.
Germans just got all their troops and everything together, and at one time they counterattacked, and they went all through that. And they knew that a lot of these troops were like myself, were green troops that hadn't been in any action to speak of, and so they took advantage of the no experience. You had no experience to speak of.
Okay, so what happens next?
Well, then we while I was there, we dug foxholes, and then we were there.
You dig the foxholes to get in, keep warm and whatever.
And then about 2 days later, they started a barrage of what do you call it? They started
the battle.
They started the advance. They started
they're advancing
with the guns. The shrapnel and everything. And it was too bad. There's two of us in the foxholes, and he was this way and I was that way, and he was killed from the shrapnel, and I got it in my. I still have it here, and I got it in my leg. Still got a piece of shrapnel there, and I got it in the leg.
Wow.
And did you know this? The person that you were with, you were friends.
Well, he was just in the service with me. I mean, we were in the same outfit. That's
Right.
all. We weren't really that big, knowing much that well. But
So how did you feel then when that happened?
I feel an awful feeling that he was gone, and then a little, what do you call it? That it was him and not me, maybe.
Yeah,
It sort of, oh,
Want something to drink, Betty?
could have been me.
right. So you can go on with your story. Just lead us through, what happened. That
Oh,
you.
yeah, then, a couple of days later, meanwhile, they took me out of the foxhole that I was in, and they moved me to another one. And I was in another one, and then I had a banging on, this was a metal top to it, and metal on it. And there was a German soldier said, come on out, the war's over for you. So, so I happened to be, my leg happened to be bleeding from the shrapnel in my hand, so they put me in a car, and they lined all the guys up, but they saw that I had been hurt, so they drove me up to a point where they questioned you, how much did you know, what could you tell them, but then they questioned you, asked you what you did and where you've been and how you did all kinds of stuff, and then they put me in a truck, and they sent me to a prisoner of war camp. I was there for 5 months.
Okay, so now going back, you said that you're not going to do it and said it's over for you now.
What?
They said it's over for you now because they were
Oh
taking
yeah, the
you as
war is
prisoner.
over, yeah.
The war is over for you now.
Yeah.
And so how did you feel like at that moment? Did you feel threatened? Did you think that they were going to kill you?
I guess you feel a little relieved, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, how did they treat you like at that moment? Were they decent? Were they?
Yeah, they didn't abuse me or do anything like that. All they did was search you and search you for, I guess mostly for cigarettes, because that was a big thing for them. Our cigarettes were a novelty for them. So they searched all of us, and all they did was take the cigarettes.
Now, how many of you were there?
About 20 of us.
About 20 of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Of you.
And they separated, because I was hurt. I was separated from, like I said, and they drove me up to a camp, an area where there was an office of some sort, and they questioned me, and I couldn't tell them anything. I didn't tell them anything.
Right.
Then they put me on a truck, and gradually we stopped at certain places until I happened to meet my go to my final place, final camp, the Stellog 12, is it 12? 12. Anyway, from there, they shipped about 25 of us to a separate camp that was segregated from the rest of them. And we stayed there for 5 months, and we worked. I did certain type of work. One time we go to the water, we go to the lake, and we put down fish traps. And then one time I went into it, believe it or not, they had trucks, and the trucks ran, would you believe it or not, they had one of those stoves on it, and they put wood and coal together, and they put it in the stove, and it created heat, and the truck moved with and then it would get cold or something, it would stop, and it do it up again, again, and you,
In the back of the truck, like?
yeah, it was sort of right on the side, like and they filled it up, like I say, with this combination of wood chunks and coal, and they kept it.
Yeah, it makes
the
a
thing
gas.
going. They made it kept going with the I don't know
makes
if
a
the
gas.
heat or the
It's a
gas,
Yeah.
or what it was.
Yeah, they do it in the hills in West Virginia, and that you'll see them sometimes. The mountain men, they got a truck that's running, it's got a fire in the back with it, and it's gas. They get gas off of that mixture.
Wow.
And they run the vehicle.
So they don't even need gas, just coal.
And like I say,
Coal and
How about
wood.
that?
I stayed there for 5 months doing. One couple of times we went to home factories where they had bombed, and we moved the furniture from one area to some place that hadn't been bombed. And then the next day we'd go down that place that's been bombed, and we'd put the furniture into someplace else. But that's where what I spent then I got a boil on my neck they sent me to the main camp, and I was there for they operated on my neck and everything. I was a short time, and all of a sudden everything is quiet, and all the Germans took off. What's going on? And they said the Russians are coming, and the Russians overdid the camp, and actually they relieved me. And there so happened to be while we were in the camp, there was a big hole in the fence, and they sort of made us stay there because they were getting paid the Russians were getting paid so much for taking care of us, So we stuck out, and believe it or not, we went down maybe a mile or so, and there was the 30th Division had trucks waiting for us, waiting for anybody that happened to get out of the camp, and they waited. They took me to a place where I got new clothes, got a shower and stuff, and then they gave you new clothes, and then I went to Camp Lucky Strike, and from there you went and got a boat, come home.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long were you in that camp?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, about 5 months, from December to April.
So what would
May.
what would a typical day be there for you?
Well, like I say, we'd get up and they'd wake us up, and we'd all maybe 20 would go to a lake or a pond, and would make a trap to catch fish. Then another day, like I say, we'd go to this factory and we'd make those like wooden chuck, piece of wood, and you put them in a bag with coal, and you shake it up, and then that's they use, like they said, they use it for the fuel for those
Right.
boilers, like whatever they were. Yeah. But
So did did all of your friends survive?
yeah, we didn't get abused or anything, but we didn't have much to eat. What happened was, occasionally, the soldiers would have stuff left over, and they'd bring it, like soup or something, and they'd bring it to our camp, and we'd finish whatever they didn't eat. That was about it for food.
Wow.
And how did you feel? I mean, how do you feel now, today, about German people, I guess?
Yeah, I don't have any, like I say, in the prison camp, they never abused me or never did anything wrong or anything. And they were suffering more than we did as far as food and everything like that. And every time when I was in the prison camp, they had a hospital, and they put beds in it. The next day, the Americans bombed it. Then you do something to another place, put furniture in it. They bomb it.
Wow.
And they kept bombing all these different places. I don't know how they knew, but somehow they knew.
Wow.
But this was towards the end of the war.
Right.
When they had a lot of freedoms, the Americans.
Right. Because the Battle of the Bulge was the last. That was like the last big
Last big
offensive.
push, yeah.
Yeah.
It lasted about from December to maybe February.
Wow.
And then the Americans stopped it. And that was the beginning of the end. And,
Was it cold over there?
well, it was like this weather.
Oh, it
We
was?
had snow, not much, but we had snow and everything, yeah. But the biggest thing in Mike was we never got abused. You used to hear these horror stories of
Yeah.
doing this and that and other, but I was never tortured or anything like that,
That's great.
So
So,
I can't complain about the treatment.
did you see a lot of bad stuff while you were over there?
No.
Or not before?
No,
So
nothing really.
you basically went over there and you went right into this battle of the Bulge.
Yeah.
And then almost right away you
Yeah,
were captured.
yeah.
Wow.
Where we going? Thank you.
Jeez. Now, I don't really know much about the Battle of the Bulge, but I'm sure there was a lot of life loss.
Oh, there was.
Oh yeah, it was really it was the worst part of the whole war. The casualties were tremendous.
So you may have been saved
Yeah,
by getting
At the
captured.
very beginning, yeah. Yeah. Had it been maybe a couple of weeks later or
Here you
something.
are, 2017. You know?
Yeah.
And you think about all these other guys who, didn't make it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
God bless them.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, we're thankful for all of the military's what they've done. And that's what gets me, these freedoms that we have, and people just take them for granted.
Yeah. They do.
And it's crazy, and disrespecting this and that. I don't like to get political, so I won't.
No. A lot of self-sacrifice.
Yeah, and the freedoms that we have, people they just expect them. Mm-hmm. They just, it's familiarity breeds contempt.
They weren't brought up any other way now. It's our culture right now.
Yeah, so they don't know that, since day one, the blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, please. Yeah.
I gotta show you right there, see that green thing there?
This?
Behind the, yeah. This is the Bronze Star.
The Bronze Star. United States of America, to all who share these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 24, August 1962, has awarded the Bronze Star Medal to Private Arthur E. Cooper Jr., Army of the United States, for the, I can't know what that word says, meritorious achievement while serving with the 28th Infantry Regiment, 8th Infantry Division in the European Theater of Operations on December 10, 1944, in military operations against an armed enemy of the United States. Private Cooper's exemplary performance of duty in active ground combat was in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflects great credit upon himself. 8th Infantry Division of the Army of the United States, given under my hand in the city of Washington, the 25th day of May, 2011. Okay, so we have a few dates on here. So we got 2011, we've got 1962. So this...
Yeah, it's belated.
Oh, wow,
And
yeah.
later. Yep.
Belated.
Jeez.
He was in the Korean War, Bob.
Bobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bobby. Bob, what's your full name?
Say again?
What's your full name?
Robert M. Demio.
Okay, and you were in... when did you join the military? What year?
Oh, I was in the National Guard when I was 17.
17?
I enlisted fraud and enlistment.
Ha!
And I finally got out after 3 years, and I was drafted on that universal military training. 8 years. And from there, being drafted, I went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania, took my basic training, 16 weeks of basic training.
16.
From there, I became the outstanding trainee of my outfit, and I got a bracelet, and I became for one day, I was the commanding general's orderly. And I was also the, I can't think of the name of the officer. Anyway, we had officers. They had the three officers of each battalion that got the award. From there, I went to OCS. I didn't do too good in OCS. I couldn't stand the public speaking. So I got an option: go to Europe or go to Korea. I said, send me to. He said, I can send you to Korea. And this is the colonel or whatever. I forget who it was, but I said, send me. When I got over there, it was a static situation. We're up in the hills of Korea, and we were in bunkers all along the DMZ, and we ran patrols. I didn't go on any patrols, but I was in a weapons squad or whatever, and the duty that we pulled was on the outpost.
of the perimeter. And from there, we had three certain areas. We had like zones in Korea. You get 1 point for back here, 2 for over here, 3 for here, 4. I was in a 4 combat zone for 4. They had point system, a 36-point system. I was in that area for 9 months, and I got all my 36 points, and I was able to get out of there. But anyway, in the meantime,
What year was this?
this was in 52 and 53.
Okay.
The end of the war. I was there in the end. When I first got there, I came through Busan, and I could see the trains that we went on. The windows were all broken. You could see that they was fired at the trains that we took. We got up to, we went through Seoul, and finally we got up to our position. And I remember the first time that I was up on line. We were on trucks, and we were moving up the hill, and I said to the guy, I said, I don't even know your name, and here I am going up a hill, and I didn't even know the guy's name. He's a guy from New York, Brooklyn, New York. And you know how they talk, you know, and I got a kick out of that. So anyway, nothing came of it. We didn't have to do anything, and the next thing I remember, I was in what they call a blocking position. In other words, you had all your troops up on the line, and then you had a position in case they broke through.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we spent so much time there in the blocking position. Then we go back on line again. It was like rotating. But I was in what they call a bastard outfit. We went from division to division. We went to the 40th, the 45th.
Did you say bastard outfit?
Bastard. We were all over the place.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We believe, I don't know if you have O.P. Tom.
That sounds like a good name for a band,
Yeah.
bastard outfit.
Well, that was one of the positions. There was all kinds of hills, and this was partially in North Korea. One of the places that I was in was Yangu, North Korea. It was one of our positions. It was an American position, but anyway, our last. One area we got into, we had to dig foxholes. I don't know if it was training or whatever, but we were getting ready. And the next thing I remember, we had artillery in back of us. And I guess we're ready but we found out later that our Company C was up on the hill, and they lost about 6 guys. The Chinese had attacked, and they had lost 6 men, and we were on the way up. And at that time, I was a sergeant, and I was the communications, what they call chief, but it's sergeant. And I had what you call the temporary phone switchboard, and we were on the hill ready to go up, and all of a sudden they called us back. We didn't have to go up. So that was a break that we had. So we lost about 6 guys there, but what I saw was maybe, I don't know, I didn't actually see them, but when I was there it happened. We had 2 guys in our 5th Regimental Combat Team, and 2 the last one that was killed in the Army was in our outfit. The last person that was killed that survived was in our outfit. I saw the last guy come through when we were leaving the hill. I saw the last guy all peppered with, he had taken grenades off the hill. We were ready to go, we were all set to go. And he was but he died eventually. So he was the last guy that died after the fact. But from there,
That was a war. So that was really a war with China, wasn't it?
it was 30,000 troops were killed in Korea. And the worst place was when they first got there. They were up in Chosun Reservoir, and the guys, they went through murder. They had very little clothing. They had their boots. I couldn't show you. I could show you by pictures that we had stuff that they should have had. We had, what do you call them, boot vest.
Yeah.
We had the vest. We had boots that were made for winter. We had, I don't know how many pairs of clothing. But those guys, they took it bad, you know.
Man.
But we were lucky, I'll tell you. We were just lucky.
Yeah. And so you see the stuff going on with North Korea now.
Yeah.
Do you kind of see a replay going on from the past?
I don't know. It's hard to tell what. But we got so much equipment now that we didn't have before. It might be a big difference,
Right.
And they're getting those ships ready too
Yeah.
for the Navy.
He was in the Vietnam.
Hey,
so you
that's
got three
another
different-
Yeah, I know that.
I
That's
talked to them a
another
little
thing.
bit about
We
it.
had the Navy on our east.
Right.
Yeah, we
Korea.
had the
yeah.
Navy. Yeah, we had the Navy there. And we wanted something.
They lobbed it in.
And by the way, I remember taking. I was in a area where we all night long we watching. We had watches that we had to watch, But we heard something down on the ravine, right? And I was scared. I'll tell you. There was something movement down there. I thought we're ready for an attack, but we called it for artillery.
Oh, the Navy? Yeah.
And then it stopped. So
Wow.
that was a break for us. But I was scared.
Yeah.
And the worst thing I saw, and believe it or not, a guy praying so he could rotate, get out of there. That was the scariest, one of the things that bothered me the most, outside of, I can't think of something else that, we had one guy that, he went off he was a company clerk, and I think he went off his head. They had to get rid of him. Couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And when I was the communication sergeant, 3 of my guys got shrapnel. They went for lunch, for dinner or whatever they call it, and chow. And 3 of them got peppered with little places with shrapnel.
Right.
But I got out of it. I didn't go. I was on the switchboard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? Shrapnel?
Yeah.
Shrapnel.
Shrapnel, yeah.
Shrapnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, shrapnel.
That's from, by the way,
Is that bullets or
we
pieces
had,
of bullets?
Fragments.
it was a continual mortar fire. It was all over the place. You didn't know when it was going to happen. Mortars. I got up one morning on my bunker, and there was this big hole we had. We must have slept through it, but there was a big hole from the mortar. Another time, I went down to get a radio repaired, and I had the Jeep driver coming up the hill, and I swear, boom, they
Right
spotted
behind, yeah.
they spotted us on the hill, and they were trying to get us on the Jeep. But we got up, we were lucky. Yeah, that was another thing that we had that happened. Yeah.
Wow. And Lance,
Yeah.
as you were telling me outside, you ended up going to Vietnam 5 times?
5 deployments.
And
We go for 6 months at a time. Then we turn around and come home.
so I already asked you what years, right? You said
65 to 69.
65 to 69. That was a bad time during Vietnam
was.
too, right? Especially the
Tet offensive in Vietnam, and we were shore support. We were up the shore. We stopped vessels, checked them out. Any air from the north, we would make sure they're suppressed. We had radar with missiles, and we'd keep them out of the area. and our Air Force and Navy used us as reconnaissance for a checkpoint. They'd use us as a beacon. They'd head in to do their bombing runs, and then they'd come back out and we'd be the focal point for them, and then they'd head south again. This would be at night. One night, me and a friend of ours, we could see the shore a little bit, but we were up on deck. You're not supposed to really go up on deck, but we were up on deck just sitting around. All of a sudden, the sky lit right up. And what it was, 2 Phantom jets come in from a bombing run, and they come out to us to get their point to where they had to turn. But when they did, they turned their landing lights on, put their afterburners on, and shot up, thinking they were wise guys. Well, that silhouetted us. Right? Went right to general quarters, and away we went. Boy, we had to button it down. Those 2 guys got court-martialed, those 2 pilots.
Wow.
Because they silhouetted us, they showed us, and so. Then we had 2 MiGs one time. We went to general quarters, were coming at us. And we have phones we wear in there, and I'm talking to these guys coming at us. They do this every so often. They get within a certain range, then they turn around and go the other way. But they got a little too close, and the guy in the one, we would call it 1JV, and I could talk to the guys in weapons. So they're in too close, and all of a sudden we launched 2 missiles, right? Then, a few minutes went by, and I heard the guy in the 1JV says, well, 2 missiles are down. 2 MiGs are down. They're gone. Shot them down. They tried to outrun the missiles. They turned around and tried to outrun them, but didn't make it. But
Wow.
about 15 minutes later, we went off general quarters. We're back at what they call regular steaming. Then all of a sudden, over the loudspeaker system, now hear this. This is the captain speaking. That last exercise never happened. In other words, Vietnamese didn't want to admit they lost 2 MiGs, and we didn't want to admit we shot them down. It's one of them things, it's just. So. And then the Pueblo, when the Pueblo got taken, we were up there as support for our missiles and everything. And they were supposed to go in and get the Pueblo, but they called it off 15 minutes before they were supposed to go get it.
Now, what is that, the Pueblo?
It was a spy ship, and it got captured.
Ah.
It was our ship, but it was a spy ship. It did get captured. And the North Koreans made what do they call that now? A place for everybody to go see what we did to these guys, So, it's on the river. Forget the name of the river. It's sitting in the river. So, it's still there.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
And what's your feeling about the Vietnam War today?
our hands were tied. In other words, a lot of the guys got orders, do not fire unless fired upon. You can't run a war like that. You got to go in and do your thing. We could have done a lot more, and they hold you down. So.
And it was tough being able to decipher between the enemy and the South
I didn't have to worry
Vietnamese?
about it as much as these gentlemen did. Yeah, we'd have boats come out after us and this and that and other thing, but no big deal. We were in Da Nang Harbor, and me and a buddy of mine were up on deck, and the sniper took a shot at the ship. I just missed. They could hear it, bing, bing. If I had got clipped by it, I would have had a Purple Heart, but I lucked out. So,
Wow.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of friends that didn't make it out of Vietnam?
Not as much as these fellas. I have a few of my friends from school that went and didn't make it home. And their names are on a wall in my hometown. My name's up there as, not as deceased, but somebody that served in Vietnam. We have a wall in Salem.
And I think that a lot of people, I'm just kind of panning this,
Right.
not to forget anybody here. I think a lot of people that have never been in the military and never have seen action, so they don't understand what the post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't understand what it is. It's just a nice word all packaged up, but they don't realize. The only thing that for me that I can equate is I got in a car accident, and the guy that was driving fell asleep, and it was down in Florida, so the speed limit was already 75 miles an hour, and what woke me up was this really loud noise of the winding of the engine, and then I heard the strips on the side of the highway that he was hitting the rumble strips. And I looked down at his foot, and his foot was all the way on the gas. So we could have been doing 85 or 90 miles an hour. And we ended up hitting head on into the medium in the middle of the highway.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how I survived, but I survived. So to this day, when I'm driving in the passenger seat of a car and I nod off, and then just driving over a bump, it all comes back to me.
Right.
Right? So that's what I equate it to. And this is now 10 years later for me, to this day. And so I can only imagine, what these people, today in the military, these guys are going over for 4 or 5 tours today over there. And what they're going through, people don't realize that I don't think it ever leaves. I don't think that stress, that trauma, it never leaves.
No.
Ever.
No.
So something can trigger it, right?
Well, I have friends even in the V.
Well, like a company clerk, say he went off. Something must have happened to him
He snapped.
eventually.
He snapped, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, there's one thing I forgot. When I was in the outpost, we had what do you call it? Passwords. We call them passwords today. And you had to know the password for the day.
Yes, sir.
So we had Koreans with us. They were in our area, in our section, part of our company. And there was a guy named Kim Wee-shik. And he was going to relieve me. And he didn't know the password. I couldn't hear it. I had my 45 out, and I, honest to God, I was going to shoot him. And that's a true story. But he says, Kim. I says, okay, and I opened we had a little door. This was the trench was, it was covered, it was actually a hole, a trench, and then a covering on it with all rocks, but it goes all the way down to the front of the position,
Did you guys dig those trenches, or were they a long time? Did you dig them, or did someone else dig them?
We had engineers, 76 engineers did that before we even got there.
Okay.
And then we had artillery, the 555 field artillery, and we had a tank on the position too. But I never saw that too much. It used to come up so, whenever they decided. And we also had what they call a killer artillery. They come up on the hill, and we call it the killer's den, and that artillery piece was positioned there to fire. But I never saw it, but I know it was in our position that was there, But that was it. And another thing about you talking about the jets. Well, being a communications sergeant, one of our jobs is I don't know if it was every day or whatever, we had to put certain, what they call panels, up on the hill, so the Air Force would know
What's what? Yeah.
where the position was. So we'd lay these panels down on the hill. That was another thing.
They didn't want to
None of
hit
our
it friendly.
jobs,
They didn't want to hit friendly.
Yeah, that was one of our jobs.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask 2 questions to both of you. Well, I'm going to try to remember them. So, for some reason you don't hear a lot about the Korean War today.
They call it the
Forgotten War.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
hear.
it was
I
the
mean, you're
forgotten
hearing
war.
stuff about Vietnam now.
30,000. At first it was, they come out with a figure of 50,000. Then they dropped it down
They
to
dropped
30. It was 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Guys.
30,000. In Vietnam, it was like 60,000.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
In World War II,
It was unbelievable.
millions.
Yeah.
Now, did you suffer the coming home and the baby killer thing? The people when you came back.
I did.
Yeah, you guys.
I I did at the airport and this and that and another thing. And when I did get home, I was home for a little bit, and then I wanted to join the VFW. They wouldn't let you join if you were in Vietnam. They didn't recognize Vietnam at that time.
That's
And
wild.
then I had a friend of mine, because my uncle was a charter member of the Salem Post. He was a Marine. He died about 2 years ago, and he was a charter member of the VFW. He was in the World War II in the Pacific. He was a Marine. He got a Purple Heart, and that's the way it works. They wouldn't let me join. Then all of a sudden, he got a hold of me later on, and they said, "Oh yeah, they recognize it now. Now you can join."
Oh wow!
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's.
They called it a police action. It wasn't a war.
That's what Korea was the same thing.
Same thing, police action.
Yeah.
Wasn't a war.
And so, what thanks, right? You go there, these people die, ruined for the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah.
You know, a lot of
Right.
people turn to drugs and alcohol
please,
and
yeah.
to forget, right?
Yep.
What they see.
Try to drown it.
And then to be thanked, to not only to not be thanked, but to be, spit at and
Oh yeah.
just
I did it at the airport.
Yeah.
Right away. Yeah.
That's what you came home. And
Not as bad as me with some of the other. Being Navy, we didn't quite have as bad as like Army, Marine,
right.
because they were in a different uniform. Navy uniform, they didn't equate it as bad, but I did. I get it, but I didn't get it as bad as some of the Army boys and Marines. So.
And when you guys came home, you were heroes, rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
But that was the kind of feeling. It was all a big party and celebration. Did you ever go to any of those? My goodness, parades and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, at the beginning of the parade, you were all gung ho, and then as time went on, kind of drifted away from them.
Now that was that here in Massachusetts?
Yeah. In Arlington, we did have a parade every year, and you'd march.
Yeah. Do you have any friends that are still alive today?
I don't know offhand, but I used to go to meetings in the POW meetings, but I stopped going, and I don't know how many of them are left. But it said something in the newspaper. There's 400 World War I veterans still alive in Massachusetts, something like that.
Really?
World War II.
World War II, yeah.
Yeah.
You know how you can tell? You can tell, the age tells you everything. 90, World War II, 80, Korean War, 70,
70,
Vietnam War. So a guy tells you he's 70, right away, when you got to the 80.
Yep. Goes by age.
Yeah, so you've seen three.
Yeah.
You've seen those
Right.
3 plus
Yeah.
the last
And I'm only a young guy.
since 2001. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because someone like me, we've never seen. I wasn't old enough for the Vietnam War. My uncle died, pardon me, in Vietnam. But
When after I came home as a prisoner of war, they sent us to Lake Placid for 2 weeks, just to get straightened out, get oriented, and so forth. For 2 weeks, that was great.
what, like
2
a
weeks.
vacation, like? Or?
Yeah.
Wow.
To get you
Did you get that?
sort of back into the
R&R.
groove of things,
R&R Korea. Japan.
Japan.
As I think about it, you had another choice, Atlantic City, and if I know then what I know now.
Oh, you would have
I
gone to
take
Atlantic
that.
City, yeah.
Did they have gambling back then in Atlantic City?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was the same as it is now.
Wow. Is there anything else that any of you
Something to come back.
can
No,
think
I
of?
don't. There's someone that's doing a thing on World War II. We got a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
That's that letter. That,
What's his name? Do you know?
I don't know who that was.
It's a
I didn't get one.
It's a news report on it. He wants to know
really?
if there's any people that are in World War II in your family.
Mm.
And you got a questionnaire. I went over it, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
It came about a couple of days ago.
You got yours too, right?
You got a letter, didn't you?
I got a letter from Germany or Holland, some man
You didn't
wants
get
some
one from a
information.
news reporter?
POWs, huh?
He's doing a story on World War II.
No, I don't know. I didn't see that.
Oh,
Let me. You got
But I
it.
got a letter from,
well,
I mean, the only family.
I guess his father uncle was a German guard or something.
oh,
His wife was German and
all right.
and he was Dutch or something like that. And he
Yeah.
wanted to get a little information about the ex-POWs or something.
Well, that was actually perfect timing because my tape just ended.
That just went, huh? Good, you had it done on science.
Yeah, you should stop that and save it, or just let it sit because you never know.
I got 3 years.
No
3
kidding.
years longevity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I was inactive for 2 years after.
Yeah. Well, I was 6 years.
It was 6 years total, but
Yeah.
4 years active,
Yeah.
2
I
years
did
inactive.
11 years total
Oh, all right.
with the National Guard.
With the National Guard.
I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
This person here is trying to find out information. There's not that many books written about it, and maybe we can help him out. Maybe you can, you can answer these questions that. And I know we pretty much touched base on all of them: the food situation, the work situation, the housing, and
You
treatment.
familiar with the?
No, but I'm saying I have the information, and maybe he can maybe he can get. We can contact him and give him the information that you
Yeah.
gave. You know what I mean? So kind of kill two birds in one shot.
Right there.
I have the information here, so
You want to do that, Arthur?
What's that?
Get a hold of this person, find out what they
well,
want?
I can. What I can do is get the information, and you can let me know if you want me to send it to him. From the video,
All right.
basically.
You want to do that, Arthur?
Yeah, that's all right. If you
So
You
I,
got the
I remember
information?
you said the food situation was not that good.
yeah.
Right now, so how many times did you eat a day?
Once in a very much, I lost about 40 pounds
Wow.
altogether, and most everybody lost. Some lost more, some lost less.
And a lot of people were thin back then,
Yeah.
not like today, right?
40 off the top, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I see old movies, whenever I see movies from the 40s where everybody's skinny, you don't really see that many overweight people at all. So you lost 40 pounds. So did you eat 3 times a day?
No.
Did you eat
We were
every day?
lucky, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, maybe.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
And then what was it
whenever
that
they
you
had
eat?
stuff left over, the German soldiers that sent it to us. That was it.
That was it?
Yeah. It was always some kind of soup, vegetable soup and so forth.
Wow.
But that's all they had too.
What about
so.
drinking? Did they give you enough water to drink and stuff?
Well, we had water, a well, something.
Okay.
Water, but
Did you eat any of that fish? You said you went to the lake all the time for fish.
no,
You never got any of the
no. I
fish?
think they gave it to either the population or the soldiers. I
Oh,
don't know.
all right. So you didn't see no fish? Huh?
No.
And we know you talked about the work that you did there. You worked on a daily basis
Yeah.
doing that, what you talked about. So we have that, right? The housing, I'm assuming he's asking how your sleeping quarters or how you lived.
Yeah,
How many?
there was about 20 of us in a cabin, and we slept on bunks with hay as the pillow. You got hay pillows.
Yeah.
Hay pillows, and that's what we slept on. The
No
pillows.
blankets?
No blankets. We had a stove though.
You did have a stove.
Yeah.
And you did talk about how you were treated. They didn't hurt you. They didn't harm
Like
you.
I say, it was towards the end. They were in as much trouble as we were, as far as food and everything, because every time you turned around, they'd bomb us or something,
Yeah. So they'd actually bomb the camp that you were at?
They're right outside. They're very close a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah,
So that's scary, right?
yeah,
Wondering if
yeah.
waiting to see if the bombs just happen to fall on you.
It was scary for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably got word from somebody that there's a camp there. Don't get too close or something.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob, your coffee's out here if you want it.
Well, it seems like you needed to survive that for some reason.
Yeah.
It seems to me. I'm a spiritual kind of guy myself.
Yeah.
I may not be religious, but I'm a very spiritual guy. But sometimes I think that, people,
It was meant to be.
yeah, people survive for a particular reason. And then I guess it's what you do with the rest of your life. I can see your daughter's a very, very nice person. That's a great thing, right? Are you guys married?
No,
You're not married. Okay.
no. She don't want to get married.
Really?
She don't want to get married.
Yeah.
A sucker I am not.
Now, your father seems like a really nice person. How was it growing up with your dad? Was it more military style or
No.
no?
He was easy.
He was laid
No,
back.
Easy peasy.
I have
Eating when you
five
kids
children.
ate at the
Oh, 5 kids.
5
right?
kids, 14 grandchildren, 11
And-
great grandchildren.
But when we were growing up, all 5 of us eating, what you left on your plate, my father ate it all.
you don't leave any
You
food.
don't leave food.
Because
It sticks with you.
And I
It sticks
swear-
with you.
Yeah, you never forget that,
I
right?
think
It
about
sticks
it
with
today,
them.
and I think it's
We
probably
have to
because
Navy.
prisoner of war, he
Maybe.
probably
What,
didn't eat
25
much.
years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I can relate
Oh,
it
boy.
to. I mean, that's why he was
I
big.
meet with
He's
two
small
Navy
now.
guys.
They had the
What he
same
was.
stickers we do.
We try to do-
You know, the same stickers we have,
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah, with the-
Oh, yeah.
we put on the corner.
Right.
They evidently put them, you know.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about? When you make a letter, when you do a letter, you put a stamp and then you
Yeah.
put your name.
Yeah.
Sticker here, this
Kittery.
is a sticker here.
Oh, yeah, that's
Evidently, that's what they do.
Yeah.
The sticker looks like the kind that you would see with us on the top.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, maybe
I didn't retire.
that's their way they do it. On the bottom.
Was there anything else that anybody wanted to add?
I'm all set. I appreciate what you're doing. I really do.
Yeah.
One guy, and I'm just coming to me, I'm not prepared.
Thoughts come up. Yeah.
One guy got hit, it was a Korean, I understand. This is all hearsay. And I actually saw part of, he got a direct hit, and I saw a piece of the flesh on some object. That was it. You know.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
But,
Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I gotta tell one more.
Okay.
We were on maneuvers out of the Philippines, and they had like they call battle groups. We had two battle groups: a northern battle group and a southern battle group. And what they do war things with ships and high-speed maneuvers. And we were in the southern battle group. I mean, in the northern battle group. Well, we got word that in the southern battle group, the USS Sevens, a destroyer, cut in front of an Australian carrier. Carrier couldn't stop, cut the ship right in half.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
And if you ever look it up, you'll see the US Sevens. And of course, they stop all maneuvers and everything else, and we're all going to that area to try to find out any more survivors you look to see around. Well, about 3 or 4 days later, we pulled in with Subic Bay, Philippines. That was our normal port to pull into in the Philippines. We were always in there. I went in and I got off ship, and they had towed the astern section of the Evans in to port, and they just dragged it up on a beach. And it looked like somebody took a knife and just cut it right in half.
Wow.
Yeah, right between the stacks. And then, the Victoria, I think it was, the Australian carrier, she couldn't stop. The guy made a wrong turn, cut right in front of the carrier, and the carrier couldn't stop. And it was at night, and half the crew went down with the US Evans.
Oh my God. Wow.
Then and then the Forrestal, when it had its fire, we were in that area too to try to help out when the Forrestal had its fire, carrier had its fire. So you think of these things afterwards.
yeah,
Right.
all these things. I remember
Yeah.
now that you're talking about the Pueblo and
The Pueblo,
and
yeah.
all these things are starting to come
Yeah.
back. You know, I forget them because
I know.
it's too busy. You know?
I know.
And how long were you in the military for? How long?
I got a total 11 years.
Oh, 11
National
years.
Guard,
And
a reserve, and
Right.
20. I think it was about. I got out early. 24 months. I think I did in the Army, but
Right.
I got out because they couldn't. They had no place for a communication sergeant. You know, there was no place at Fort Devens or any place. You know.
Wow. Now, do you have a picture of you when you were younger in here
Right
somewhere?
there, behind you. Right there with him, and it showed a picture of him.
Right here?
Yeah. That's him when he...
Good looking guy.
He was in uniform. He was like... All the women were chasing you, right?
Well, we're definitely, again, thankful for all that,
We thank you.
you know.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
getting that out.
that you,
Yeah.
letting us come here. You know, I think it's important, and I think that, stories should be told, you know.
Definitely.
So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And you never know what happens, right?
That's it.
As I walk closer to the edge of place and time, me.